It started at age 9 with the diagnosis of type 1 diabetes, followed by Graves' disease, a thyroid disorder just 3 months later, and a decade of panic attacks and crippling anxiety. And now here we are 20 plus years later, a changed mindset, changed habits, and the desire to help others like me on this journey of health and nutrition. So if you are tuning in, join me, your host Sharifa, on this path to better health and better mind, because we are all about the mind, body, and spirit. It is all one. And listen, we on a road to becoming the best person that we can possibly be. So stay tuned. Hello, welcome back to the Mental Health Diet Podcast. If you are new here, what's good? What's poppin'? Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me. I'm your host, Sharifa, also known as Shari. And welcome. And then also to my Mental Health Diet fam, I got to figure out a name for you guys. I got to figure it out, because you know how on YouTube they have like different names, and like they'll say like the tribe, whatever. I got to figure out a name for you guys. I have to figure it out. Maybe I should create like a poll for that, like on a social media, which I need to get my social media up and running for this podcast. So that's a different story, but I want to create a name for my returning listeners and for all of my followers and subscribers. So also too, if you have not done so, please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the show. Make sure you go ahead and follow it. Whatever platform that you're listening to, make sure you go ahead and subscribe so that you will be notified for every new episode that is released, okay? Because I don't want you to miss out. I am here to help you grow mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever it may be, whatever you find to be the thing that's going to help you become a better person. That's what I'm here for. So today, as you can see by the title, we are going to talk about something that a lot of people are addicted to, including me. And I have come to the conclusion, like, sis, I think you may be addicted. And that's why, like, even for me, there's been periods of times where I have to take a break and just really think about what I'm doing, because it's like, yo, sis, you're doing too much. So today's topic is we're going to talk about 7 ways sugar can cause anxiety and inflammation. As you know, sugar is everywhere, and it's kind of funny. So I was at the grocery store the other day, and as I was in the checkout line, I just looked at the checkout. I looked out as I was in the checkout line. I looked to the right of me, and all I saw was candy bars. All I saw was like M&Ms and the Hershey's and all that stuff. And all I kept telling myself was like, look at that temptation. Like, you already 9 times out of 10, I know sometimes with me, you know, you're at the grocery store, and I'm trying to learn to not to do this, is to go to the grocery store hungry. So you're already hungry. And then sometimes even me, I don't even feel like being there. So then I'm already aggravated that I'm there. So then while I'm waiting in line, the last thing that I tend to grab, well, I used to grab, not no more. I haven't did this in a while, unless my blood sugar is low. But what I would tend to do is like grab a Reese, a Kit Kat, M&Ms, or something. And it just made me think about like how, especially like in America, I haven't visited other countries except for Canada, but like, it's just so crazy how sugar is everywhere. The presence of sugar is literally everywhere. And it's like, sugar is like this little bug or little person where it's like, come eat me, come eat me, come eat me. Because it's like, you don't even have to look for it, but there's sugar everywhere. So it's like there's sweets everywhere. And like there's another store that I love where I live, and they have like a lot of plant-based options. They have a lot of different healthy options. But one thing that they do is that they put all of their pastries in the front. So before you check out, there's like this whole row of like plant-based chocolate chip cookies, muffins and cookie cakes, all this really, really good things that I used to eat. And I used to eat a lot, and I used to eat it for no reason. And to be honest, I had to teach myself. I'm like, sis, why are you eating a cupcake? It's not your birthday. At least eat a cupcake and wait for some type of celebration. But you're just sitting up here eating a cupcake. You're eating cookies. And it's like, cupcakes and cookies will no longer be a symbolization of like, oh, joyous celebration, which is another problem that I feel like we have. That's a whole nother topic, especially in America, is that why do we use cookies and cakes and sweets and all this unhealthy foods as a sign of celebration? We need to figure out ways to make the food healthier and find healthier alternatives. So I say that to say is that at this place, this grocery store, this other grocery store that I go to, they mean well. They have plant-based foods and all that. But once again, the temptation is there. There's like 4 packs of chocolate chip chunk, whatever, vegan plant-based cookies. And y'all, I used to literally get these cookies all the time, to the point, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I kept going after this, but there was one point where I had a chocolate chip cookie and my blood sugar went up so high that my blood sugar reading, I don't know if it was like something was wrong with my glucose kit, but y'all, it couldn't even read it. It couldn't even read my blood sugar reading. And so I think there was something wrong with it. But I remember I had that chocolate chip cookie. And so, like, sugar really has not been my friend. I don't know if it really has been my friend. Like, y'all, I've been a type 1 diabetic for, 22? Is it 22 years now? 22? I don't know. I forgot. Since 9. But, like, it's just like, y'all, like, sugar is everywhere. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I have to bring this topic to the podcast because this is something that I see has troubled a lot of people. A lot of people within my community, a lot of people around the world. And I'm not here to tell you like, oh, stop eating sugar. But also too, if that's something that you feel resonates with you, then listen to your intuition. Okay. So like I said, this is something that I had to come to conclusion with. And I'm like, sis, you're eating too much sugar. You need to cut it, because as we go through the 7 different ways sugar can cause anxiety, inflammation, you may find certain things that I talk about as like a trigger, or you may be like, that's something that I have done in my past or whatever. So we're going to talk about sugar. And sugar, like I said, it can be found in the form of being candy. It can be an added sugar. It can be in sauces, barbecue sauces. Sugar is present everywhere. And when you go to stores, or if you go to a carnival, like think about when you go to a carnival, they have the cotton candy. And cotton candy is pure sugar, like just pure sugar. And then it's just like there's sugar. And another thing that I love, especially with a carnival or a boardwalk, is fried dough. Is that what it's called? Or funnel cake, fried dough, funnel cake. Y'all, bomb. But it ain't nothing but like bread and a bunch of sugar. So yes. So I really want to help you guys, especially people that are struggling with sugar addiction, or for the people who may not even think that they're addicted, but after listening to this episode, you might be like, wait a second, I might have a serious problem. This is what I'm here for. All right. So one thing that I do want to mention is that when we think about sugar, we tend to think about sugar as just a way for it to make us gain weight. Okay. So that's definitely one thing. Sugar definitely can make us gain weight. And that's one of the biggest things that, I say in society, they talk about is like, okay, cut back on sugar, especially if you want to lose weight, blase. But they also don't talk about how sugar can cause so many different other illnesses. And for the sake of the podcast, we're going to talk about more mental health concerns or mental health issues where people are dealing with anxiety and depression. Okay. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So we're not going to talk about so much more weight, but we're going to talk about inflammation, as well as how it can cause anxiety. So, and also too, I will like to mention as well is that sugar can also cause serious health problems, including things such as heart disease and cancer. So, like I said, sugar, I think everything in moderation, because I still eat sweets. Like this past couple days ago, I had some banana pudding, whatever, and I low-key felt a little guilty, okay? Actually, not even low-key, high-key. I felt guilty because I'm like, sis, you did not need this banana pudding. And y'all, so my cousin had made this banana pudding in a cup, right? Listen to this, right? So she puts it in a cup, right? And I get 1 cup. Then I get a second cup. And then the next day, there was a cup saved in the refrigerator. I had the 3rd cup. So y'all, Sharifa, what are you doing? Simmer down. You don't need all that sugar and those sweets. And that's what I'm saying. Sugar can be very, very addicting. And so as I ate 1 cup, I felt the need to have more. So y'all, it's real. And you are not alone if you feel like every time you pick up a scoop of ice cream or a cookie, you can't put it down, because it's addicting. All right. So the first way, we're going to talk about an inflammatory response. So we're talking about 7 ways sugar can cause anxiety, inflammation. So we're first going to discuss the inflammatory response. So basically, what is inflammation? Inflammation is when your body reacts to something harmful like an infection or an injury, and tries to protect you. So eating a lot of sugar can make your body think it's under attack, which causes inflammation. So once again, what is inflammation? Inflammation is when your body reacts to something harmful, like an infection or an injury, and tries to protect you. And when you're eating a lot of sugar, it can make your body think it's under attack, which causes that inflammation. So let's break it down a little bit further. So when you eat a lot of sugar, your body's blood sugar levels rise very quickly. So for me, I'm a type 1 diabetic. Yeah, when I eat sweets, I have to make sure that I compensate by giving myself enough insulin to cover the food that I'm eating. And 9 times out of 10, y'all, 9 times out of 10, the insulin doesn't even cover what I ate because the sweets just goes chaotic in the body. So when you eat a lot of sugar, your body's blood sugar level rises quickly. This sudden spike in blood sugar can trigger a bunch of reactions in your body, including the release of certain molecules called cytokines. So these cytokines act as messengers, signaling to your immune system that there might be a threat or danger present. Okay, and so now your immune system job is to protect your body from harmful invaders like bacteria and viruses. So when it gets the signal from cytokines, which is a molecule, that there might be a threat, even though it's just a sugar spike, it responds by initiating an inflammatory response. Inflammation, as we discussed before, is a natural and necessary process in the body to fight off real threats. Let's repeat that again. Inflammation is a natural and necessary process in the body to fight off real threats. So when something is really wrong that shouldn't be in your body, that's what your body becomes inflamed for. However, when it happens in response to non-threatening situations like a sugar spike, it can lead to chronic inflammation, which is linked to various health problems such as diabetes, heart disease, and also weight gain, obesity. So in simple terms, basically, eating a lot of sugar can cause your body to think it's under attack because of the sudden rise in blood sugar levels, leading to an inflammatory response that can be harmful if it happens too often. So that's the problem, is that a lot of people, we tend to end up develop these lifestyle diseases, such as, for me, I'm type 1 diabetic, so that's different. So type 1 diabetic, generally they say that is more genetic. That is a little bit different because I got that at 9. But things like type 2 diabetes and heart disease and all those other type of things, a lot of those things could and can be prevented based off of lifestyle change. And so what happens is over time, your body just becomes chronically inflamed. And in turn, with that inflammatory response, your body now is just tired. It's tired of fighting sugar spikes. Your body is tired of just fighting a supposed threat. And so we just have to make sure that we're careful. Like I said, moderation. That's why the key word at the end is leading to an basically, is so in simple terms, eating a lot of sugar can cause your body to think it's under attack because of the sudden rise in blood sugar levels, leading to an inflammatory response that can be harmful if it happens too often. All right. And like I said, so those were some of the things that I listed. So some long-term effects include things such as heart disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes. It could be high blood pressure. It could be arthritis. It can really, honestly, sugar can lead to a lot of different things. And like I said, this episode is not for you to just be like, oh my gosh, I can't ever eat sugar again. If you feel called to think that and believe that, that's fine. But this is also just to bring awareness about information that is not talked about that much. And so also another breakdown in regards to long-term effects is that one major concern is that chronic inflammation can damage your blood vessels over time. This damage makes it easier for substances like cholesterol to build up and form plaques, leading to a condition called arteriosclerosis. So arteriosclerosis can eventually cause heart disease. So we talked about the long-term effects by narrowing or blocking blood flow to your heart, which can lead to heart attacks or strokes. And also to people who are already, who may have like a family history of these things. You might have a family history of type 2 diabetes. I know my family does. Or a family history of high blood sugar, a family history of high blood pressure, a family history of heart attack. Like, these are things that we have to acknowledge. And like, back in the day, that information really wasn't presently available. There weren't podcasts back in the day, 20, 30, 40 years ago. The information that we have in front of us, it wasn't there. And I always tell myself and teach myself, and I even tell my parents as well, it's like, I'm learning that once you know better, you should do better. And we're not perfect. I'm not saying that any of us should be perfect, because guess what? That's just not us. We're not God. We're not perfect. Okay. We're just not going to be perfect. But I do believe that we should do things to make sure that we are living to the best ability that we can. So, additionally, chronic inflammation can affect how your cells grow and divide. Sometimes this can lead to abnormal cell growth, which is a risk factor for cancer. When cells divide uncontrollably and form tumors, it can be very harmful and may require extensive treatment like chemotherapy or surgery. So basically, in simpler terms, if your body stays inflamed for a long time, it can set the stage for serious diseases like heart disease and cancer. That is why it's important to take steps to reduce inflammation, such as eating a healthy, balanced diet. I am very, very much a person that likes to scream out plant-based diet. So that is very, very important to make sure that you adhere. If you don't, and I don't think that everyone, if that's not in your will to go plant-based, that's fine. But just try to find healthier alternatives to the foods that you're eating. So, it's important to take steps to reduce inflammation by eating a balanced diet, exercising often, and managing stress to help protect your long-term health. So if you're somebody like me who has been eating sweets for years, I can't even count how many years I've been eating sweets. And there's been times where I'll buy like a whole bag of Easter egg Reese's. Y'all, like, I remember one time I was at work and my job, it was so stressful. It was a 9 to 5. And I remember I went to the store and bought like a pack of like Reese's. I think there was like maybe 20 in a pack. Y'all, I sat there and ate that. Okay, maybe not 20. Maybe it was about 10, whatever. And on top of that, I think I had ate something else that was unhealthy. And it's like, y'all, so if you know that you're doing this, don't give up or anything like that. Just be aware of what you're doing. And then I will say add different things to your lifestyle. So if you've been eating sweets, okay, well, start going to the gym. Do something to kind of really fight off those long-term effects that could possibly happen. I'm hoping they don't, even for myself. I'm hoping they don't take place, but that's another reason why I had to take initiative and cut back on my sweets. I had to take initiative and say to myself, Sharifa, what are you eating? And I also had to take initiative and start going to the gym. So you can do it. Listen, I have faith in you. If you're listening to this podcast, I believe in you. I have faith in you. Listen, let's just get started. Okay. Let's get started together. There's no better time than now. And if you need to pause this episode and go to the gym and put your gym shoes on, or go walk outside, do that and play this episode while you're walking. Do whatever it is that is going to make you be better in the long-term run. All right. So connection. So now we're going to talk about the connection to mental health. So chronic inflammation can also affect mental health. So long-term inflammation can also make you feel anxious or depressed. This is something that I thought was very interesting, especially with my anxiety that I used to have that was very, very bad. And so let's break that down. So chronic inflammation is like having a low-grade persistent fire in your body. Chronic inflammation is like having a low-grade persistent fire in your body. Over time, this ongoing inflammation can affect not just your physical health, but also your mental well-being. Research suggests that long-term inflammation is linked to changes in brain chemistry and function, which can contribute to feelings of anxiety and depression. So basically, to put it simply, when your body is constantly dealing with inflammation caused by things like too much sugar, it can impact your mental health by making you more prone to feeling anxious or depressed. And also the other side of depression too, in regards to sugar and sweets, is that a lot of times for me, when I would eat sweets, I would have like cookies, Reese's or whatever. And then I'll be depressed because I'm like, I know I shouldn't have ate that. Like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have ate that. Now I got to go to the gym. Oh my God, now I'm fat. Oh my God, I'm not going to be able to fit into this dress. And it's just like, it's just this whirlwind. So you get that dopamine kick. And they also have said that sugar addiction is similar to almost like drug addiction or cocaine. Because it's like it gives you that instant dopamine, that feel good feeling, and then all of a sudden it crashes. So to put it simply, once again, like I said, when your body is constantly dealing with inflammation caused by things like too much sugar, it can impact your mental health by making you more prone to feeling anxious or depressed. So taking care of your body and managing inflammation through healthy habits, like we discussed previously, like a balanced nutrition diet, can help support both your physical and mental well-being. All right, so the second way that sugar can cause anxiety and inflammation is we're going to talk about the anxiety connection. So basically, scientists have found that chronic inflammation can be connected, as we talked about previously, it can be connected to feeling anxious or depressed. So high sugar consumption can worsen mental health issues, leading to a cycle of anxiety and sugar craving. So eating a lot of sugar can make you feel more anxious, which can make you want to eat more sugar, creating a cycle. Let's repeat that, okay? Because I feel like that is for me. Eating a lot of sugar can make you feel more anxious, which can make you eat more sugar, creating a cycle. Y'all, we have to break these cycles. Yeah, and this is something that just came to my mind yesterday. It was like, we have to break these cycles, especially the bad cycles. The bad cycles that we have are so hard to break because it's like a wheel. It's a cycle, goes, it keeps going and going. But what we got to do is we got to look at that wheel, that cycle, and pull away whatever it is. So you know how a cycle goes in turn? Well, usually there's like a prompt. Oh, I'm mad. I'm going to go to the store. Cupcake. Mad. Like it's like a whole cycle. We got to figure out how we can remove that arrow from going into circles and make it go away and go a different direction. Or what you can also do is to break the cycle, you can implement a healthier habit. So if you find that you're eating a lot of sweets, implement a workout routine, maybe for one of the meals, eat a vegetable, whatever it is, or also find an alternative to that healthy treat. The third way that sugar can cause anxiety inflammation is through blood sugar spikes, as we discussed. So eating sugar can lead to rapid spikes and drops in blood sugar levels. How do I know that? Because one, I am a type 1 diabetic and I feel it, and I've seen it with my blood sugar readings. When I eat sweets and I'm not able to give myself the correct amount of insulin because somehow I thought that this donut was 45 grams and somehow ends up being like 90 grams, who knows? Because listen, one thing about us diabetics, especially as a type 1 diabetic, it's like we try to calculate the food, but for some reason it just don't be adding up, especially with the unhealthy food. And so long story short, what happens to me oftentimes if I'm eating food and it causes my blood sugar to spike is that my blood sugar will go up and I will feel so tired. I will feel drowsy. I will feel thirsty. I feel aggravated. I feel agitated. Sometimes my body will feel itchy inside. Like I'm like, don't bother me. So when my blood sugar is high, I'm like, I don't want no parts of anything. And then it can also cause a drop in blood sugar levels. And oh, y'all, that in turn itself is like a whole roller coaster, especially when the blood sugar just drops too low. So when you eat sugar, your blood sugar level goes up quickly and then it drops just as fast. So what this does is that it affects your mood. Like I said, so when my blood sugar is high, I'm cranky, I'm irritable. If my blood sugar is dropping low and it gets too low, I am cranky and irritable. So these fluctuations can cause mood swings, feelings of anxiety, and irritability. These quick changes in blood sugar can make you feel moody, as I mentioned before, anxious, not wanting to be bothered. You may feel agitated. You may not want to do nothing. You may feel not motivated. Like you're just going to feel like blah. And then also too, if you're really mad at yourself, like I've done in my past, I'll just eat more sweets. I'm like, well, look at this. My blood sugar is already high. My blood sugar is dropping. Whatever it's doing, I'm very upset. So let me eat more. So we just have to really understand like what triggers do we have in regards to eating sweets and how we can stop those. All right. The number 4, sugar also has a huge role in chronic stress. So sugar consumption can contribute to chronic stress, mimicking anxiety symptoms or making them worse. So a diet high in sugar can lead to increased cortisol, often called the stress hormone, because it's released in response to stress and low blood sugar levels. So a diet high in sugar can lead to increased cortisol levels and prolonged stress responses. So cortisol is often called the stress hormone. So chronic stress can negatively impact mental health, as we mentioned, leading to anxiety and other mood disorders. So we have to understand that, like, if you're somebody that's already dealing with a lot of mental health issues, or you're dealing with a lot of different things in your life, none of us are perfect. We're all dealing with something. And that's one thing I always tell myself to, I have always told myself, it's like, you just never know what people are going through, because there are days where I'm outside smiling and skipping. Literally, y'all, I was skipping down a road a couple of days ago. I went walking with my sister and my mother. I was skipping on the street, but you know what? I felt like it. And like, just because someone's skipping all that, you don't know that they could be going through a lot of things. And there's things that I'm dealing with now. And it's like, yo, even though things in my life are not perfect, I'm still going to skip. If God gave me these feet to skip and he gave me the mind to skip, I'm going to skip down the street. Okay, period. And so that's the thing about it, is like, especially if you're dealing with mental health challenges, if it's something that's personally going on, maybe it may not even be you. It may not even be you that's dealing with the mental health challenge, but it could just be your environment. When you eat sugar and things like that, all it really does is just make it worse. It doesn't help it. It doesn't help you in regards to the environment. It just makes you more agitated, and it just makes you feel like you're losing control. Because that's how I generally feel when I eat sweets and stuff like that. I feel like I have literally lost control in the foods that I'm eating, and just also the choices that I make. So number 5. So we're going to talk about the fifth way that sugar can cause anxiety and depression. The fifth way is through the gut-brain axis disruption. What is that? Excessive sugar consumption can disrupt the gut-brain connection or axis, affecting mood regulation. So imbalances in gut bacteria due to sugar can influence mood and mental health. Let's break it down. Your gut and brain are connected in a way that they communicate back and forth. This communication system is called the gut-brain connection. When you eat a lot of sugar, it can throw off the balance of good and bad bacteria in your gut. So now these gut bacteria play a huge role in how your body functions, including how your brain works. When there's an imbalance, it can affect the signal sent between your gut and brain. This disruption in communication can influence your mood and your overall mental health. For an example, certain types of bacteria in your gut can produce chemicals that affect your brain's chemistry. If there are too many harmful bacteria due to excessive or high sugar intake, they might produce more of these chemicals that can lead to mood swings, anxiety, or even depression. So, all in all, basically eating too much sugar can mess up the balance of good and bad bacteria in your gut, which in turn can mess with the signals between your gut and brain. This disruption can impact your mood and mental well-being, highlighting the importance of a balanced and healthy diet for overall health. And so, once again, that is why it's important. We don't realize how much sugar affects our body. Even as I was researching this information, and I knew a lot of this information, but I also want to research it further, I was surprised about a lot of my findings. I'm like, excuse me, what? This is why you really need to take a break from eating sweets. So it's just really, really important to understand how sugar can affect you. So also too, in regards to the connection to anxiety, imbalanced gut microbiota can contribute to anxiety symptoms and mood disorders. So to break it down, now inside your gut, there are trillions and trillions of tiny organisms called gut microbiota. These organisms play a huge role in digestion and also influence your overall health, including your mood. When the balance of good and bacteria in your gut gets disrupted, it can affect this communication highway between your gut and brain. Once again, this disruption can lead to a situation where your brain gets signals that may contribute to anxiety symptoms and mood disorders. For example, some research suggests that certain types of bacteria in the gut can produce chemicals, as I mentioned before, that affect your brain's chemistry. If there's an imbalance in these bacteria due to factors like excessive sugar consumption, it can lead to more of these chemicals being produced, which may contribute to feelings of anxiety, frustration, depression, and all those things that you just don't want to feel. So the connection here is that when there's an imbalance in your gut microbiota, it can mess with the signals traveling between your gut and brain. So this disruption in communication can contribute to increased anxiety and mood disorders, highlighting once again, as we said before, the importance of maintaining a healthy gut, y'all, a healthy gut for overall well-being. Number 6, we're now going to talk about nutrient deficiencies and brain health in relation to excessive sugar consumption. All right, y'all. So high sugar intake can lead to nutrient deficiencies that impact brain health and mental well-being. Sugar consumption can deplete essential nutrients needed for brain function and mood regulation. Now let's break it down. High sugar intake can lead to nutrient deficiencies that affect brain health and mental well-being. Sugar consumption can deplete essential nutrients like B vitamins and magnesium, which are crucial for brain function and mood regulation. This can result in impaired cognitive function, mood disorders, and decreased energy levels. Y'all, this information is just so mind-blowing. Like, who would have known that sugar can do all of this? Like, who would have known? Jesus. And nutrient deficiencies from sugar-rich diets can create anxiety symptoms. So lacking vital nutrients can contribute to anxiety and worsen mental health outcomes. Man, I swear, like, I don't like to say I swear, but y'all, I'm thinking that sugar can just do one thing. One, I always was like, oh, sugar can make you gain weight, but I didn't know sugar did all this, y'all. And like I said, I've had this knowledge and I knew the importance of not eating too much sugar. I knew about the relation between like heart disease. Well, I did know the relationship between heart disease in regards to hardening of the arteries and cancer and things like that. But like just relearning this information and presenting it to you guys is just like, it's like confirmation for me. Like, girl, you don't need to be eating a cupcake every day. Like, eat your cupcake, eat your cookie for a celebration, if that. And then also too, I would like to mention, like, also too, you can find like a healthier alternative. So you know how I mentioned like I have eaten plant-based cookies and things like that. So if you're somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, well, what if I eat a plant-based cookie? I'd rather you eat a plant-based cookie than a regular cookie that's filled with XYZ. But I will be honest with you guys, something that I know, especially with plant-based sweets, is that they add in more sugar. I feel like they added more sugar to make it more sweet. I don't know, y'all. So just be careful, and everything's in moderation, because something else that I had to teach people is that just because it's also plant-based doesn't make it healthy. It still has the same amount of sugar. It just means that they don't have any animal products, but they still can put tons of sugar. Sugar is not an animal product. So just be careful. But if you have to choose between a regular cupcake and a vegan cupcake, go ahead and get the vegan cupcake, okay? Number 7, we're going to talk about sleep disruption and anxiety. Sugar consumption can disrupt sleep patterns, contributing to anxiety and mood disturbances. Sugar affects sleep quality and duration, influencing mental health and anxiety levels. So let's break it down. High sugar consumption can disrupt sleep patterns by causing blood sugar levels to spike and crash. So remember I mentioned before, as a type 1 diabetic, especially for me, when my blood sugar is high, I feel so exhausted and so winded. So high sugar consumption can disrupt sleep patterns by causing blood sugar levels to spike high and crash, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. As we all probably know, poor sleep quality and shorter sleep duration can lead to increased anxiety and mood disturbances. When I don't get my sleep, y'all, I am cranky. And it's funny now I think about it like a baby. So that's why it's important. Like if you have children, it's like you got to put your children to bed at a certain time. Make sure they get their full hours of sleep, or a baby, because then they be cranky. They be waking up cranky, blah, blah, blah. Listen, y'all, that's even me as a grown adult. If I don't get my sleep, I don't want to do anything. Like I'm cranky. I eat very poorly. I just don't really be caring. I'm just like, oh, I just need some sleep. So poor sleep quality and shorter sleep duration can lead to increased anxiety and mood disturbances. Consistently disrupted sleep affects mental health, making it more difficult to manage stress and emotions. So poor sleep due to sugar intake can lead to, once again, increased anxiety and reduced overall well-being. And it's just really, really important to make sure that we understand the importance of healthy sleep habits, and then also to try to refrain from eating something sweet before you go to bed. Because I feel like, especially like with the dinner times and after you have dinner, you got to have something sweet or whatever. Let's try our best to maybe find a healthier alternative. Not maybe, but let's do that. Let's find a healthier alternative. So now, since that we talked about the 7 ways that sugar can cause anxiety, inflammation, I want to just kind of give you some practical tips. So one of the things is that I want to suggest is reducing sugar intake to help manage the inflammation, anxiety. So what you can do is look at the nutrition label. So it'll say sugars, and then it'll say added sugars. Added sugars is a red flag on the play. So the sugars that are listed are naturally occurring. So there's like sugars, but then the added sugars, no. Those are not naturally occurring. Those are sugars that were implemented. Those are especially the bad sugars. Those are the sugars that will make you gain weight. Those are sugars that's going to cause your anxiety to be all over the place. You want to keep out on added sugars. Look at those added sugars. So for instance, if a food says 10 grams of sugars and it says it includes 10 grams of added sugars, that means that everything in that food product is added sugars. If it says 10 grams of sugars and then it says that it's 9 grams of added sugars, that means there's only 1 gram. There's only 1 gram of a natural occurring sugar, and the rest is all bad sugar. So be very cognizant of the food that you eat and look at the sugar intake. So some healthier alternatives to sugary foods is that try eating fresh fruit. Also, too, something else I've been teaching myself, I'm like, sis, if you really want something sweet, get some fresh fruit and some whipped cream. There's even vegan whipped cream out there. I got to look at the added sugar intake, but try to get some fresh fruit. For me, I love mangoes and pineapples and strawberries. Like, do that and maybe put some whipped cream on it. Definitely look at the sugar intake. But if you feel like, oh my gosh, I need to figure out, like, I still need something sweet, and you're really trying to like get yourself weaned off of just eating sweets, maybe at bedtime, get you something healthy. Listen, get as many apples as you want. Be careful. Don't eat too much of anything. It's not good. But like, get like a bowl of fruit and put some whipped cream on it if you need to give yourself that kick. Like, I be telling myself that, like, sis, you want something sweet? Okay, how about you get some pineapples and put some whipped cream on it? Okay, and you'll just start to see, like, wait a second, I don't actually need like something sweet or heavy or a cookie or a cake or pastry for me to like feel satisfied. Another thing that you can do is eat nuts and seeds if you can digest that. Veggie snacks. I really like, what are they called? Like the pea snacks? Yeah, what are they called? I forgot the name of it, but they're like pea snacks. Those are really good. Choosing whole grain options such as oatmeal, so doing overnight oats, or also making homemade smoothies. And so those are just some healthier alternatives that you can do to replace the sugary foods in your diet. It's not easy. Y'all, listen, like I said, this past weekend I had 3 cups of banana pudding for what? Girl, you could have had 1. You don't need 3. But the one thing about me is I'm teaching myself is when you know better, you do better. And guess what, y'all? Listen, I know better and I am doing better because, y'all, old Sharifa would have already had about a cookie a day. A cookie a day will keep the doctor coming, okay? You know how they say apple a day will keep the doctor away? Well, a cookie a day is going to keep the doctor coming, and it's going to keep that hospital bill going up, okay? And so we got to look at the long-term effects of sugar. So that is this week's episode. I want to bring to you guys the effects of sugar on your overall mental health, anxiety, as well as inflammation. And I hope you all have learned something today. I hope that this information resonates. Please share this information as well. If there's someone that you know that is going through a sugar addiction and someone that needs help, or someone that is dealing with really bad anxiety or just any mental health issues or whatever it is, send them please send them this episode. Share it with them. Be like, listen, just listen to this, okay? Hear me out. Just listen to this. And so I hope that this episode has blessed you. I hope that this information will help you become a better person. Because listen, y'all, we on to bigger and better. So as you all know, I like to always end it off with a quote of the week. And this quote of the week is, temporary defeat does not equal permanent failure. Okay. So even if you accidentally find yourself like me eating banana pudding and eating all this other stuff, please don't give up. Okay. That's the enemy. The enemy wants you to be like, look at you, girl. You had that banana pudding. You can't get back on track. I bet you I did. I bet you I told myself, we ain't eating no more sweets. Okay. Listen, I went to the gym. I was on that Stairmaster. So temporary defeat does not equal permanent failure. So even those days where you're like, oh my gosh, Sharifa just told me about what sugar can do, and I just ate a Reese. That's okay, sis. That's okay, bruh. Okay. That's okay. Just know, now you know. Here's the first step. I always say the first step is that now you know. That's the beauty of it. So when I start eating sweets and I'm doing something and I'm like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have done that. That's way better than just doing it and not having no type of like consciousness. You're just eating it. But that's the first step, is doing something and be like, yo, I don't think I should be doing this. So, listen, y'all, like I said, just don't be hard on yourself. Because I know for me, I could be hard on myself. Take your time. Write out a plan if need be, but just know that you are not alone. If you're someone that is suffering from sugar addiction, or you feel like you've lost control, you have not lost control, just know that you are not alone. I am here for you. And as always, also too, if you have not done so, if this episode has helped you in any way, please make sure you go ahead and leave a rating and review. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please make sure you go ahead and leave either a rating. It takes 2 seconds, y'all. You can even do it while I'm talking to you right now. Go ahead and please leave a rating. And then if you want to, please make sure you go ahead and leave a review. So if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, however you're listening to this, please make sure you go ahead and leave a rating review. That will be greatly appreciated, because listen, y'all, we are in this together and I really, really appreciate it. And then also too, if you have not done so, make sure you go ahead and follow this podcast. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, shout out to you. Make sure you go ahead and follow. If you're listening to this on Apple, shout out to you. If you're listening to this on any other podcast platform, shout out to you. You a real one. So please, please, please make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe or follow button, whatever button is there for you. Please make sure you do that. And y'all, all right, so you already know what time it is. Oh, I already said the quote of the week. I always say, like, you know what time it is, the quote of the week. Let's just repeat the quote of the week. This week's quote of the week is, temporary defeat does not equal permanent failure. I hope you all have a great week, a blessed week. And listen, y'all, we are on to bigger and better. I will see all of you beautiful people next week. Bye-bye.